All right, so my next one is going to be a film called Sketch, and this film is out now in theaters. It came out August 6th. There's some controversy around it too. I'll get into that later. But in this film, fantastical creatures come to life when a young girl's sketchbook falls into a strange pond. As the town starts to unravel, she and her brother try to track down the unpredictable, chaotic, and dangerously real monsters before they can cause permanent damage. Racing against time to find them, their father must navigate a community in crisis to reunite his family and stop the disaster that they never meant to unleash. This is directed by Seth Worley, and our cast, a lot of young cast. There's a lot of kids in here, including our main characters. But we got Tony Hale, who plays Taylor Wyatt, our dad who's raising these two kids. Their mom passed away, which is interesting, dynamic going on here. So I guess they're dealing with her grief and still navigating, going to school, being new kids in this town, this community. Darcy Carden plays Liz White, his sister, who comes in and helps a little bit. And our main characters, we've got Allie White. She plays Allie McCullough, the daughter here, the one that does the drawings. We've also got Q Lawrence, who plays her brother, so they make up the two kids. And another standout performance here is Callan Cox, who just plays a kind of a brat that goes to their school with them. But what happens in this film, man? Just by wandering out, the son discovers this pond on his property, right? So, and he's just messing around, bumbling around. He drops his phone in the pond, right? And the screen cracks. So he pulls the phone out and he cuts his hand in the process as well. He cuts his hand, pulls the phone out, realizes not only is his phone fixed, but the wound on his hand is gone. So something about this pond has really crazy properties, man. So he gets this crazy idea to throw his mom's ashes in there. I guess thinking that would bring her back. So fortunately he doesn't. But what ends up happening, man, I think there's an accident and the daughter's book ends up in this pond, and she's been using her drawings as a way to deal with her mom's loss. There's people at school. She'll draw pictures of them, monsters killing them in violent ways. You know what I'm saying? So these creatures come to life, these things in this book, and start manifesting in this town. And it goes from there, man. But what I did enjoy about this film is just you got this family story, which is kind of cool. But then there's part Goonies, part Ghostbusters. And the crazy thing about this film, dude, this thing, man, you talk about a horror tone. This film was rated PG, bro. Like this thing has heavy horror vibes. Like I don't know what was going on. Like it's funny because I'm sitting there, I'm next to this dad and his son and shit. They're sitting next to me, and the dad is like, "Is this a scary movie?" He's like, "I can't hold your hand." Like, and I'm like, "Yo, this show's PG, bro." But dude, I'm telling you, man, this thing has some of the best horror energy I've seen in a long time. Just from what you're used to getting from horror, just the suspenseful music, the angles. Like it was crazy. I'm watching this thing and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but there are some intense stuff, which is the controversy, man. So apparently, this film is made by a company that's is put out by a company that's mostly known for doing these kind of religious, inspirational type films.
Okay.
I think the company name is Angel, right? So that's a controversy. Like when I'm looking at the negative reviews or you see an ad running for this and you look at the reviews, most of them are coming from parents who were not prepared for this film to be
What?
so
Okay.
kind of dark at times and gritty and it's PG, so there's a little bit of cussing, but they're little kids. They don't get out of control or too crazy. And they're like, yeah, I took my kid and he's kind of scared now. And then some people was like, yo, my kid really enjoyed this. But I think for the most part, this film feels like this is like my first horror movie, man. If you're going to introduce your kid to that genre safely, this would probably qualify that. But there was so much here that worked for me, man. This thing was bubbling, and I think it's probably more adult, like the stuff that's going on. There's a lot of stuff in here adults can appreciate because I think really the family story here is really good, man. Like especially with the dad trying to like one of the problems is the dad is just not addressing this at all, and and the brother he's dealing with it in his own way. Like I said, trying to bring his mom back to life, and the daughter seems to be the only one that has developed something. Even though these
Okay.
drawings are a little bit crazy and intense, but it's her way of dealing with her feelings and these emotions. And one of the craziest drawings she draws seems to be this entity that comes out and is out here trying to really alter things and make it so, they're trying to manifest and take over, like, yo, I like it here. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, bringing that energy to life and personifying it. But this thing was really good, dude. Like I'm definitely going to check this out when it comes back out again. I highly recommend people see it in the theater, especially if you are fans of horror. And this is a horror film, man. As far as I'm concerned, it's not billed as that. Right now, it's sitting here. It says fantasy comedy. I think it should be fantasy horror comedy, mixed in, because this thing, the vibes are there, man. This is one of the best. Like, I want to see this director do a real horror movie now. You know what I'm saying? Something where they could go balls to the wall. There's not no age restrictions. But even with that, man, I think what's cool about it too is the special effects, the monsters. Beautiful, man. Like just the way that they brought these characters to life is definitely a film that was made on a low budget, but they squeezed everything out of it just with creativity. Like there's these little spider monsters she drew with they got red, they're all red with an eyeball in the middle, and their main thing is to steal stuff. So there's one point where these things infest the house, and all of a sudden all of their fucking whole house ends up by this pond, which is kind of how the drawings end up getting into the thing too. But it's cool, man. And the finale is amazing. And at one point they actually team up with the bratty kid, and that kid was funny as hell, man. He looks like this rapper named Milk that I've been listening to lately. Looks like a little version of him. The kid, Kalen Cox, who plays Bolin Lynch, and he steals every scene that he's in, man. He's just a little snot, but he's really funny, man. And by the end, they're kind of all pals. But yeah, man, I really had a good time watching this, man. I think I gave this thing probably like a 4.5. It's that good, dude. So besides the controversy, like I said, man, this is a mostly Christian inspirational film. So I think that a lot of that audience just went with the brand and thinking this was something that's going to be safe. And I think it does. It still has a positive vibe. It doesn't get preachy. It doesn't bring up the specifics of religion or anything at all like that, but it does still have a positive message. But I think, like I said, the fact that it did have these horror vibes freaked a lot of these viewers out. And one thing that is controversial too, at the very end, they say, wait, there's a timer that comes on 1 minute until I was like, oh, do we get a bonus scene? Well, they got an app now. So they said, download this app and you could turn your kids' drawings into monsters and bring them to life. So controversy is it's an AI app. So you could doodle on it and it uses the AI to make a little monster that moves around on the screen. You can take a picture of it and all that. So that's kind of, a lot of people have been really hardcore anti-AI, but I don't know. It is what it is. Like, the movie was good. That part came on at the end and it didn't take me out. I was like, all right, I see what it is. You know what I'm saying? But, I have been seeing some of that too in the comments. Like, oh, their AI app. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, this thing, you got to pay the bills. I don't know. I don't know what it went into getting this thing built. There might have been also some crowdfunding stuff too, because I think they were saying if an adult was to buy a ticket, I think they have a website, then you can also get a ticket for the kid for free or something like that. It's to encourage people to see it. But I definitely encourage you to see it however way you can. This is a good time. If that stuff doesn't bother you, man, this is one of my, I had a great time watching this, bro. This is one of my best movie theater trips, this summer, in general, It's just a fun time, man.
Okay.
Great. Really great performances, special effects, story. Yeah, it's all there, man.